While the fire moons focus on spirit and imagination, the earthy moons pay attention to what's real and manageable. They identify strongly with the body and its needs. They think a lot about the basics: food, drink, shelter, clothing, money in the bank. And there's something deeply ritualistic about the moon in these signs. Rituals center the body in time and space, so they stick to them. Things as simple as the order in which they get ready for work in the morning. Fire moons may brush their teeth in the shower and, oh, forget breakfast, I'll pop into the deli on the way to work. Earth sees no practical reason to switch it up. They think the world is a hotbed of chaos, and the only thing keeping that chaos in check is routine. The earth moons care a lot about saving time and energy. They need both at the ready so they can be industrious. They have an instinct to stay occupied. Because they're very aware of being part of the natural world, these moons like the kind of purposeful action you see in nature. Animals and insects are always doing something for a reason, even if it is at a slow pace. Likewise, the earth moons are concerned by what they're doing, what they're contributing, what they'll leave behind. The earth signs are the builders of the zodiac, and the earth moons have a drive to build something real, not only for their own sense of safety and security, but for the future. Another feature of these moons is that they're tactile and sensual and have strong needs for affection. If they aren't given the affection they need in childhood, they're likely to experience shame about the body and its processes in adulthood. That's a sad thing to see, because these moons measure quality of life and their satisfaction in life partly by the amount of pleasure they experience and partly by the amount of safety they can manage to feel in what they view as a very uncertain world. A moon in Taurus is slow because rash and impulsive reactions can disrupt the peace, and they like keeping it simple. In fact, its simplicity is one of its charms. It focuses on food, sleep, affection, and sensory experiences. It has a faithful nature because it's simple that way. It likes money because a fat bank account can make problems disappear. It likes a stable home because that's safe. The moon here isn't looking for drama and doesn't need excitement. When things get stressful, the Taurus moon is likely to escape by going deeper into the body and its senses. Sinking into a hot tub isn't just relaxing, it gives the Taurus moon a feeling of security. And don't try to change anything about Taurus, they don't cooperate anyway. One of its favorite defense mechanisms is to dig in their heels and not budge. The truth is that one of the reasons it does try to avoid bumps in the road is because it's the sign of the zodiac least able to adapt to change. The dark side of the Taurus moon has to do with its simple but very strong desires. It likes money, as I said. It also likes beauty. So what we find in the shadow is vanity and greed. That little green monster, envy, is the most problematic part of this moon. That's why the task of this moon is to develop strong self-esteem and to value what it has to offer. The Taurus moon gives stability, no problem, and it keeps its promises. It really needs you to be where you say you'll be and do what you say you'll do when you say you'll do it. This placement feels content when it can feel its fundamental needs, and it nurtures primarily by taking care of your body and giving gifts and money. If a child is born with a moon in Taurus, give them clothing and money and even some luxury items without them even having to ask, because that makes them feel like the world is an abundant place where their needs can be met. The moon in Virgo needs to feel of use, which is why they're so likely to go into service occupations. They abound in the medical field because they're drawn to problems, but also because they love health, analysis, and assessment. If they find their job therapeutic, all the better. This moon is obsessed with efficiency, and it needs to feel competent. It's not about the reward for doing a competent job. It's fulfilled by the competence itself. And this is one of the sources of Virgo's famous humility. Here we have an inward feminine moon, so achievements are more satisfying on the inner plane than the outer one. This is the only highly adaptive and introspective earth moon. It wants to be the best and most streamlined person possible. They view cleaning up the self as part of their life's work. The Virgo moon is also said to be cautious, and that's true, but it's because they need to wait and watch before committing, because once they do, they'll be reliable and conscientious. They want to know that all their energy will flow toward the right thing. They aren't the type to talk themselves up, but they take pride in their ability to anticipate the future and avoid the problems they think are most likely to arise. This moon is cautious, and that's for a purpose. They want to craft the most efficient life in which they don't take on too much, because that's always a problem with a Virgo moon. Working too much, giving too much of the self, and being too conscientious when it's not needed. When this moon is self-defeating, you find that their failures generally hinge on this very thing, not having as much to give as they thought they would. And this moon is the most likely to have psychosomatic illnesses. By that I mean honest to God health problems, but they derive from a sickness of the psyche, a sickness of the soul. This happens when the Virgo moon loses touch with its emotional and instinctual nature, and that's easy. They're only one step away from analyzing their emotions out of existence. If you have a child with a Virgo moon, praise them for their industrious use of time and their self-sufficiency, and try not to model a fragile self-concept, because a moon in Virgo will internalize that. They see a lot and they pay a lot of attention and they take a lot in, because this moon seems to have a vague feeling that they're somehow in training for something in the future that's going to test their skills, their knowledge, and their wholeness as a person. The Capricorn moon needs recognition from the outer world for the goals it has achieved. Work and professionalism are central to Capricorn's sense of well-being. The Capricorn moon isn't terribly comfortable with the soft, squishy world of emotion. Being at work, having to exercise control over their reactions to everything, means they don't have to deal with that unpredictable part of life. This moon's goals are generally traditional, because they have a certain reverence to the people who have come before. And it's also safe to devote energy to a well-worn path. Spending time and energy to veer off the road, to follow the loose contours of a plan for the sake of a target that may or may not be there, isn't going to get this moon's consideration. They feel safe and protected by rules and limits, but that does mean that the dynamic inner feelings have to be held in place. The downside of holding emotion at bay is that it can be overdone, and the Cap Moon becomes threatened by emotion because if those were to be let out, all control would be lost. The only solution at that point is to stop allowing anything spontaneous to happen in life. It's a popular defense mechanism for the moon in Cap. Over time, those bottled up emotions can become quite powerful, and the thought of unleashing them becomes more threatening and even shameful all the time. And truly intimate relationships on a feeling level become impossible. Tenderness becomes impossible. This is a difficult moon because the nature of the moon and the nature of Capricorn are at odds. When you see a Cap moon in the chart, you often find a rejecting parent in the history and a childhood in which the kid was unable to express feeling freely. The Cap moon is reliable and fulfills duties and obligations. When it comes to achieving goals, there's no one better. But since this moon is responsible, and since it's nurtured and nourished by tradition, it should stop along the way and take some inventory. Consider if tradition is what they really want, or maybe they want to do something a little bit different. Also, this moon should remember that sometimes it's appropriate to use societal standards to see how you're doing, but it's also appropriate to take a step back from time to time. There may be some unique features within that require a different kind of yardstick. Thank you for watching Secrets from an Astrologer's Desk, the Earth Moons. I'm Joy. More videos to come. If you enjoyed this video, consider donating $2 to Swan Family Charity. This organization gets medical care to poverty-stricken orphans in Afghanistan. The site, swanfamilycharity.org.